Hello, I'm Vincent from Free English Lessons. In this video, you are going to learn determiners and quantifiers. 1. Determiners. Determiners are words placed in front of a noun to make it clear what the noun refers to. The word people by itself is a general reference to some group of human beings. If someone says these people, we know which group they're talking about, and if they say a lot of people, we know how big the group is. These and a lot are determiners in these sentences. A. Classes of determiners. Classes of determiners are 1. Definite and indefinite articles, the, a, an. 2. Demonstratives, this, that, these, those. 3. Distributives, all, both, half, either, neither, each, every. 4. Numbers, 1, 10, 30 etc. 5. Difference words, other, another. 6. Question words, which, what, whose. 7. Defining words, which, whose. 8. Quantifiers, a few, a little, much, many, a lot of, most, some, any, enough, etc. B. Definite and indefinite articles, the, a, an. Articles in English are invariable. That is, they do not change according to the gender or a number of the noun they refer to. Examples, the boy, the woman, the children. Definite article, the. Indefinite article, a/an. The is used, 1, to refer to something which has already been mentioned. Example, an elephant and a rat fell in love. The rat loved the elephant's long trunk and the elephant loved the rat's tiny nose. 2. When both the speaker and listener knows what is being talked about, even if it has not been mentioned before. Example. Where's the toilet? It's in the first floor. 3. In sentences or clauses where we define or identify a particular person or object. Examples. The woman who wrote the book is famous. Which bus did you scratch? The blue one. My house is the one with a green door. 4. To refer to objects we regard as unique. Examples, the sun, the moon, the world. 5. Before superlatives and ordinal numbers, see adjectives. Examples, the highest mountain, the last page, the first chapter. 6. With adjectives, to refer to a whole group of people. Examples, the Africans, list of nationalities in English, the young. 7. With names of geographical areas and oceans. Examples, the Caribbean, the Sahara, the Atlantic. 8. With decades, or groups of years. Examples, she grew up in the 80s. 9. Name of rivers, seas, mountain ranges and deserts, always in capital. Examples, the Nile River, the Red Sea. The Andes, the Kalahari Desert. 10. Directions, cardinal points. Examples, the east, the northwest, the southeast. C. Exceptions to using the definite article. There is no article with names of countries, if singular. Examples, Russia is an important economic power. He's just returned from Lesotho. But, I'm visiting the United States next month. With the names of languages. Examples, French is spoken in Burkina Faso. English uses many words of Latin origin. With the names of meals. Examples, lunch is at midday. Supper is in the evening. Breakfast is the first meal of the day. With people's names, if singular. Examples, James is coming to the meeting. Louis King is my uncle. But, we're having lunch with the Obamas tomorrow. With titles and names. Examples, Prince Inda is Queen Christina's son. President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. Dr. Watson was Sherlock Holmes' friends. But, the Queen of England, the Pope. After the possessive case. Examples, his sister's jet. Vincent's house. With professions. Examples, teaching is a useful career. He'll probably go into engineering. With names of shops. Examples, I'll get the card at Jones. Can you go to Coates for me? With years, 1968 was a wonderful year. Do you remember 1995? with uncountable nouns, examples, maize is the main food in Africa. Milk is often added to tea in Kenya. Love is good while war is destructive. With the names of individual lakes, mountains and islands, examples, Mount Kilimanjaro is in Tanzania. She lives near Lake Victoria. Have you visited Short Island, with most names of towns, streets, stations and airports, examples, OTC Station is the center of Nairobi. Can you direct me to Tom Mboya Street? She lives in Kisumu. They're flying from Jomo Kenyatta. In some fixed expressions, for example by car, on foot, at school, in church, by train, on holiday, at work, at university, in prison, by air, on air, in broadcasting, in bed. With names of sports/games, examples, he plays football every evening. Judy likes playing cards. With general areas of subject matter, examples, biology, sociology. With names of states, examples, Lagos, Minnesota. D. Indefinite article, a/n. Use a with nouns starting with a consonant and in with nouns starting with vowels, examples, a boy, an apple, a house. NB, and before an h mute, examples, an hour, an honor. A before u and eu when they sound like you, examples, a European country, a university, a unit. The indefinite article is used, 1, to refer to something for the first time, examples, an antelope and a rat fell in love. Would she like a drink? We have finally got a good job. 2, to refer to particular member of a group or class. 3, with names of jobs, examples, Peter is a doctor. She wants to be a dancer. Marlene is training to be an engineer. 4, with nationalities and religions, Jude is an Englishman. Christine is a Catholic. 5, with musical instruments, examples, Chris Black was playing a violin when the visitor arrived. But to describe the activity we say, she plays the violin. 6, with names of days, example, I was born on a Friday. 7, to refer to a kind of, or example of something, examples, the rat had a tiny nose, the elephant had a long trunk. It was a very strange bus. 8, with singular nouns, after the words what and such, examples, what a shame. She's such a beautiful woman. 9, meaning one, referring to a single object or person, examples, I'd like an apple and 2 oranges please. The burglar took a gold necklace and a valuable painting. Notice also that we usually say 100, 1,000, 1,000,000. NB, we use 1, to add emphasis or to contrast with other numbers, examples, I don't know one person who likes eating leopard's meat. We've got 6 monitors but only 1 printer. 2. Quantifiers. Quantifiers are adjectives and adjectival phrases that give approximate answers to the question how much and how many. Examples, we've got a little money. I've got a lot of students. A. Quantifiers many, much, few, and little. 1. Graded quantifiers. They function like comparatives and hold a relative position on a scale of increase or decrease. Increase from 0% to 100%. With plural countable nouns, we use many, more, most. With uncountable nouns, we use much, more, most. Decrease from 100% to 0%. With plural countable nouns, few, fewer, fewest. With uncountable nouns, little, less, least. Examples, there are many people in Kenya, more in India and the most people live in China. Much time and money is spent on agriculture, more on education but the most is spent on health services. Few rivers in Uganda are not polluted. Fewer people die young now than in the 19th century. The country with the fewest people per square kilometer must be Eritrea. Scientists have little hope of finding a complete cure for cancer before the year 2030. He had less time to study than John but had better results. Give that chihuahua the least opportunity and it will bite you. B. The quantifier enough. Enough plus noun. Enough is usually placed before nouns, to indicate the quantity required or necessary. Examples: there's enough food for lunch. He has enough money. We didn't have enough time to visit River Nile. Are there enough onions to make an omelette? Michael has enough talent to become a singing star. Enough is also used with adverbs, come after adverbs. Examples: I couldn't read quickly enough and I ran out of time. I haven't been to boot camps often enough to have really learned much. Enough is also used with adjectives, come after adjectives. Examples: she isn't shortest enough to be a rumba dancer. I'm afraid your painting just isn't good enough. Enough of. We don't use enough of unless there's a determiner, an article, this/that, my/your/ is etc. We use enough of when there's a determiner. Examples: there isn't enough of cassava, incorrect. We've had enough of your nonsense. Your is a determiner here. I haven't watched enough of the film to really form an opinion. Enough can also be used without a noun. Stop. That's enough. Enough is enough. With adjective and noun. When enough is used with an adjective and a noun, two positions are possible but the meaning changes. Look at these two sentences. We haven't got big enough shafts. None of the shafts are as big as we need. We haven't got enough big shafts. We have some big shafts but we need more. When enough comes between the adjective and noun, big enough shafts, it qualifies the adjective, it tells us that the shafts aren't big enough. When enough comes before the adjective, it qualifies the noun phrase, it tells us that there aren't enough shafts. See, cardinal and ordinal numbers, percentages. Talking about numbers in English. The cardinal numbers, 1, 2, 3, 21, 31, 100, 1000, 1,000,000, etc., are adjectives referring to quantity, and the ordinal numbers, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 20th, 21st, 30th, 31st, 32nd, 33rd, 34th, 100th, 500th, 1000th, 1,000,000th, etc., refer to distribution. Examples: there are 27 people in the room. He was the 9th person to win the award since 1999. 200,000 people were left homeless after the flood. I must have asked you 30 times to be quiet. He went to Israel for the 5th time this year. Fractions and decimals. 0.5 equals half or 0.5. 0.25 equals a quarter or 0.25. 0.75 equals 3/4 or 0.75. Percentages. 25% equals 25%. 50% equals 50%. 75% equals 75%. 100% equals a/100%. Units. $1,200 equals $1,200. 16,486 pounds equals 16,486 pounds. 545 kilometers equals 545 kilometers. $25.35 equals $25.35. Years. 1988 equals 1988. 1864 equals 1864. 1999 equals 1999. How to say zero. Not, used in mathematical expressions and decimals, not times 3 equal not, example. 0.3 equals not 0.3, or 0.3. 0.03 equals, 0.03. 0, used in scientific expressions, especially temperatures, 20 degrees Celsius equals minus 20 degrees or 20 degrees below zero. Also used to mean the lowest point, the heavy rain reduced visibility to 0. 0, the letter, used in telephone numbers, 071-390-0062 equals 071-390-0062. Nil/nothing, used to express the score in games such as football, 2-0 equals 2-0 or 2-0. D. Quantifiers with countable and uncountable nouns. Adjectives and adjectival phrases that describe quantity are shown below. Some can only go with countable nouns, friends, cups, people, and some can only go with uncountable nouns, sugar, tea, money, advice. Only with uncountable nouns, how much, a little, a bit, of, a great deal of, a large amount of. Only with countable nouns, how many, a few, a number, of, several, a large number of, a great number of. With uncountable and countable nouns, how much and how many, no/none, not any, some, any, a lot of, plenty of, lots of. Note, much and many are used in negative and question forms. Examples, how much money have we got? How many cigarettes have you bought? There's not much salt in the container. There weren't students at the concert. They're also used with too, not so, and not as. Examples, there were too many people to the party, we couldn't see the band. It's a problem when there are so many students. There's not so much work to do this month. Much of, many of. When we use much or many before articles a/and, the demonstratives this, that, possessives your/my or pronouns him/them, we need to use of. Examples, how much of this novel is fact and how much is fiction? John, the 19th century Nigerian painter, spent much of his life in Kenya. Unfortunately, not many of the paintings were there. How many of them can jump, dance and sing? In positive statements, we use a lot of. Examples, I've got a lot of work this month. There were a lot of people at the party. Much, many, much of in negative questions. When we use much and many in negative questions, we are usually expecting that a large quantity of something isn't there. When we use a lot of and lots of in negative questions, we're usually expecting a large quantity of something. Compare, haven't they sold many books? No, they haven't. The speaker expects that they've sold a small quantity of books. Haven't they sold a lot of books? Or lots of? Yes, they have. The speaker expects that they've sold a large quantity of books. Isn't there much sugar left? No, there isn't. The speaker expects that there's a small quantity of sugar left. Isn't there a lot of sugar left? Or lots of? Yes, there is. The speaker expects that there's a large quantity of sugar left. The quantifiers few and little. A few and few, a little and little. These expressions show the speaker's attitude towards the quantity he/she's referring to. A few, for countable nouns, and a little, for uncountable nouns, describe the quantity in a positive way. These words can be used in the following ways: we've got a few friends, equals maybe not many, but enough. We've got a little money. We've got enough to live on. Few and little describe the quantity in a negative way. Examples, few visitors visited him in hospital. Equals he had almost no visitors. She had little money. Almost no money. The relative adverbs, some and any are used with countable nouns, to describe an indefinite or incomplete quantity. Some is used in positive statements. Examples, we had some rice for lunch. She's got some novels from the library. It's also used in questions where we are sure about the answer. Examples, did he give you some porridge? Equals I'm sure he did. Is there some juice in the fridge? Equals I think there is. Some is used in situations where the question is not a request for information, but a method of making a request, encouraging or giving an invitation. Examples, could we have some pens please? Why don't you take some pens home with you? Would you like some pens? Any is used in questions and with not in negative statements. Examples, have you got any milk? He didn't give me any coffee. I don't think we've got any milk left. Some in positive sentences. Examples, we will have some news next week. He has some valuable assistance with his exams. There's some margarine in the fridge. Some in questions. Examples, would you like some assistance? Will you have some more roast chicken? Any in negative sentences. Examples, he doesn't want any kitchen appliances for his birthday. They don't want any help moving to their new office. No thank you. I don't want any more bread. There isn't any reason to lament. Any in interrogative. Examples: do you have any friends in Germany? Have you got any sisters? Do you want any groceries from the supermarket? Are there any problems with painting? G. Compound nouns made with some, any, and no. Something, somebody, someone, somewhere. Anything, anybody, anyone, anywhere. Nothing, nobody, no one, nowhere. Compound nouns with some and any are used in the same way as some and any. Positive statements: examples: someone is sitting on my chair. She saw something in the garden. I left my glasses somewhere in the office. Questions: examples: are they looking for someone? I'm sure they are. Have they lost something? I'm sure they have. Is there anything to drink? Real question. Did they go anywhere yesterday? Negative statements: examples: they didn't go anywhere yesterday. She doesn't know anybody here. Notice that there's a difference in emphasis between nothing, nobody, etc. and not anybody. Examples: we don't know anything about that thing. Equals neutral, no emphasis. We know nothing about it, equals more emphatic, maybe defensive. Something, somebody, somewhere. Examples: I've something to tell you. There's something to drink in the fridge. He knows somebody in New York. Susie has somebody staying with her. They want to go somewhere hot for their holidays. Keith is looking for somewhere to live. Anybody, anything, anywhere. Examples: is there anybody who speaks Swahili here? Does anybody have the watch? Is there anything to drink? Have you anything to comment? She doesn't have anything to comment tonight. I wouldn't eat anything except at Junctions. Nobody, nothing, nowhere. Examples: there's nobody in the office at the moment. When I arrived there was nobody to greet me. We have learnt nothing since we began the course. There's nothing to drink. There's nowhere as beautiful as Canada in the spring. Squatters have nowhere to go. Any can also be used in positive statements to mean, no matter which, no matter whose, no matter what. Examples: you can borrow any of my pens. You can choose anything from the menu. You may invite anybody to supper, I don't mind. H. Less or fewer. People often don't know when to use less and when to use fewer in a sentence. Here is how to get it right. Less means a smaller amount of, not as much. Use less when referring to something that can't be counted or doesn't have a plural, e.g. money, air, time, music, rain. Examples: it's a better job, however they pay you less money. Students want to spend less time in traffic jams. Ironically, when I'm home, I listen to less music. Less is also used with numbers when they are on their own and with expressions of measurement or time, distance, ages, and sums of money. Examples: her weight fell from 70 kilograms to less than 50. Their marriage lasted less than 5 years. Health Square is less than 6 miles away from Kampala city center. In sentences and phrases with then, you should use less with numbers when they are on their own. Examples: his weight fell from 70 kilograms to less than 50. A person with a score of less than 80% will have difficulty obtaining credit. Fewer is the comparative form of few, so if you're talking about a smaller number of people or things, you should use fewer with a plural noun, e.g. houses, newspapers, dogs, students, children. Example: men nowadays/these days are buying fewer newspapers. Fewer people are opting to study science-related subjects. Fewer than 50 children each year develop the disease. NB, but beware. There are several common English nouns whose plural forms don't end in s. Some of the main ones are people, children, men, and women. As these are still plurals, you should opt for fewer and not less. Summary. Another way to remember the main distinction is to think along the following lines. Not as much equals less. Not as many equals fewer. Most, the most, mostly. Most, we use the quantifier most to talk about quantities, amounts, and degree. We can use it with a noun, as a determiner, or without a noun, as a pronoun. We can also use it with adjectives and adverbs to form superlative. Most with a noun. We use most with nouns to mean the majority of. He plays golf most mornings. Most tap water is drinkable. Warning, we don't use the most with this meaning. The sun shines over 700 hours during August, September and October, and on most days temperatures rise above 20 degrees. Not. And on the most days. When we're talking about the majority of something in general, we use most plus noun. When we're talking about the majority of a specific set of something, we use most of the plus noun. Compare, most cakes are sweet, cakes in general. The food at the party was delicious. She'd made most of the cakes himself, a specific set of cakes, at the party. When we use most before articles, a, an, demonstratives, this, that, possessives, my, your, or pronouns, him, them, we need of, example, most of the information was useful. Some of it wasn't relevant. Not most the information. They sold most of their houses quite quickly. Warning, when there's no article, demonstratives or possessive pronouns, we don't usually use of, example, there hasn't been much rain. Most lakes are below their normal levels. Not most of lakes are below their levels. We use most of before geographical names. Most of Somalia and Djibouti should be dry throughout the day. Most without a noun. We can leave out the noun with most when the noun is obvious. Example, some students brought a packed lunch but most had a cooked meal in the canteen. Most students. The most is the superlative form of many, much. We use the most with different classes of words. The most with adjectives and adverbs. We use the most to make the superlative forms of longer adjectives and the majority of adverbs. Examples, we are using the most advanced technology in the world, plus adjective. Mount Kenya is the most easily identifiable mountain in Central, plus adverb. The most with a noun. We use the most with a noun to mean more than all of the others. Example, John earns the most money in our family. We can leave out the noun when it's obvious. He didn't tell the best stories but he told the most stories. The most with a verb. We use the most with a verb as an adverb. Example, they all cried but Jane cried the most. Mostly. Mostly is an adverb that means mainly. Example, I'm mostly interested in the history of the car. I'm interested in other things of the car but my main interest is its history. We don't use mostly instead of most or the most. Compare, what I liked most were the beautiful boats. Not, what I liked mostly were the beautiful boats. Which boats did you like most? We mostly stayed on the boat. I liked the beautiful boats more than anything else. Which beaches were the ones that you liked more than any other? We stayed on the beach for the majority of the time. J, using to /enough. The words to have a negative meaning. It means, more than is necessary or desirable. Study the following sentences. She was very nervous. She could not perform well on the stage. She was too nervous to perform well on the stage. The task was very arduous. I couldn't do it without help. The task was too arduous to do without help. It was very hot. We didn't want to go out. It was too hot to go out. Combine the following sentences using to. The place was very noisy, I couldn't hear anything properly. He earns very little, he can't keep his family in comfort. I know him very well, I don't like him. To and enough. To and enough indicate degree. They're used with adjectives. To means more than what is needed. Enough means sufficient. Examples, he's too old to play football with the children. Solomon is wise enough to do the right thing. She's not working fast enough. We don't have enough time. She has too many friends. She has got too much patience. Use of to and enough. 1. Enough precedes adjectives and adverbs. Examples, she isn't old enough to watch this program. We're not running fast enough. 2. Enough may also precede nouns. Examples, we have enough knowledge. I have not got enough money to buy this bicycle. 3. Too comes before adjectives and adverbs. It's too cold to wear that shirt. I was cycling too fast. 4. Too may also come before nouns when it's used with the expressions too much and too many. Too much is used before uncountable nouns. There's too much sugar in this tea. Too many is used before countable nouns. Example, there's too many pupils in this classroom. Thank you for listening.